Capital One cafes offer inviting spaces where you can bank, get answers to your financial questions, recharge your devices, and connect to on-the-house Wi-Fi, all with a handcrafted Pete's beverage in hand. Capital One cardholders get 50% off Pete's handcrafted beverages every day. With extended hours, ATMs, and plenty of space to get comfortable, Capital One cafes are built to fit your life. Hey, I'm Angela, and welcome to Creative Disruption. This series was created for the innovations and the challenges that came out of last year. Whether you're a freelancer, a side hustler, just starting out in business, or maybe you've had 20 years in, it doesn't matter. The whole point of Creative Disruption is to talk about how to grow, how to pivot, and how to adapt. In this series, you're going to learn about ways to manage cash flow, best insights on personal branding, and ways to market your business. And I know that if you're like me, you always want to learn, you always want to grow. So I'm really looking forward to sharing Creative Disruption with you.
I started from writing since I was young, did poetry, and then challenged to do a novel. When first novel was crap, second novel was okay, and then it made such an impact that it turned into a screenplay, which is now an 8-time award-winning film called The Sweetest Girl.
You are a filmmaker, so please tell me, how did that get started?
That's a very good question. So, born in Haiti, raised in Brooklyn, New York, and Philadelphia, moved to South Florida in the early, mid to somewhat 2000s. So the filmmaking was just an evolution of my writing. I've always been a writer since the age of 7 years old. My writing is therapeutic. It's a lot less expensive than going to therapy itself. So as time went on, I wrote tons of poetry, tons of books of poetry. I even had poetry that was set in time, location, and certain characters. Then my wife, shout out to my wife, Amy, she challenged me to write a novel. I wrote my first novel. My first novel is a great story. It's described as James Bond meets Idris Elba's Luther mixed with Mission Impossible, X-Men, and a dash of Haitian hot sauce. The book was called To Whom Much Is Given. The book was completely trash because I didn't hire an editor or anything like that, but I didn't give up. That's the one thing, as artists and entrepreneurs, or creative entrepreneurs, not to want to give up, try and try again. So I did a second book called Revelations Roads to Redemption, hired an editor this time. He's a seasoned screenwriter. I said, Harry, have you ever thought about adapting a book for a film? He said, no, I never tried that before. So I sent over to Harry my novel called Revelations Roads to Redemption, a Grayson Goodman novel. It is here. He said, okay, let's work together and write a screenplay. So I've never written a screenplay in my life. Harry and I, he who taught me how to drive, taught me how to write a screenplay. And so we had 18 pages, but we went about through 18 drafts of writing that screenplay.
I love that story, from driving to screenplay writing. That's perfect, from your friend. You shot The Sweetest Girl during a pandemic. So first of all, there's lessons to learn as a filmmaker just in general when you're not shooting during those difficult times. What are some of the highs and maybe lows that you learned during that you would love to share with everyone?
So one of the highs that I would encourage everyone to do, focus on what you can do. Right behind me, you see it says, believe in yourself, shine on, and do what you love. Everything has beauty, as you can see. Focus on what you can do. Because Harry and I was like, I don't know how we're going to do this. We have a pandemic. One of the high points is, again, we focused on what we could do. We focused on the funds that we could raise. We focused on the cast, the team we already had. And from there, things started to build. One of the lows was that we couldn't control, you can't control what behaviors of individuals. So one of our cast members did not show up on the last day of set. I'm a normally calm individual, but I was a little perturbed that day. Everyone was yelling and screaming at certain things. I'm like, this is unacceptable. And it wasn't great. But Genji Jacques was there. He played the role. He's known as the Haitian Denzel. And he played the leading role of Lucius Goodman. And the character that was to be played was a younger version of him. Thank goodness Genji was on set that day. We had our makeup artist, we had our hairstylist, a makeup artist, shout out to Patricia Canvas, all from South Florida. and Ty Martin from South Florida as well, they made Genji look younger. We shaved his hair, we dyed his hair black, and he became a younger version of himself on set. So the lows are things are going to happen, right? Our budget was originally $10,000, but it ballooned to $30,000 because of the cost of having a doctor, a nurse on site. So highs, again, is focus on what you can do. Lows there'll be things you can't control, but be solution driven, and you'll get past through those challenging times.
The film has been winning a ton of awards, which congratulations to you and your team. Is this something that you're hoping to potentially get some Oscar buzz over, or potentially take even further? What is the goals for the film?
Great question. So we are getting some Oscar buzz today. We've been fortunate to be seeing on a lot of South Florida news stations, NBC6, Fox 29, and the Oscar buzz is real, right? And the goals of the film is to not only get selected, but win Oscar qualifying film festivals. The Oscars will be aired next year in February for Black History Month. And our cast included 100% Black cast, all from South Florida, which was awesome. Our crew included 100% a crew of people of color here from South Florida. And so that was exciting. And so celebrating the artists here in South Florida, celebrating the people behind the scenes is something to be excited about. And we won Best Picture in the South Florida International Film Festival, which was online, and we won Best Short Film at the New Jersey Film Awards, and we just got selected into the Hip Hop Film Awards, which is happening in August. So it's exciting. So it's definitely exciting.
Well, congratulations, and I know that this is one of many congratulations you're going to continue to get as time progresses on. You know, Yanatha, what's so interesting about you is that not only are you a filmmaker, but you're a professor of entrepreneurship, and I think that's pretty amazing also for your students, because when you speak to them, you can tell them what you're doing and the experiences you're going through. So can you tell me a little bit about what it is that you teach, and maybe some of the takeaways that you actually like to leave as a professor when you're teaching your students?
Great question. So yes, I am a professor of entrepreneurship. I want at Miami-Dade College, the Wilson campus. And it, like you said, it is a great experience because a lot of the students get to see someone who's out in the field now, not someone who was in the field or who plans to be in the field, but someone who's doing work in the field of entrepreneurship. So our film, we didn't just do it as a filmmaker. I understood the marketing component of it. I understood the business operations, the project management of it. And so the courses I teach are Lean Startup, Intro to Lean Startup, where you have a different, more lean approach when you're doing entrepreneurship. You cut the business plan really short. You focus on problem solving versus just having a long business plan that eventually, the minute you print it, goes out of date. Other courses I teach are Intro to Entrepreneurship. This semester, we have SoftBank. We have a partnership with SoftBank that includes FIU and University of Miami, teaching courses about operators in businesses and startups. So not just the person who started the business, but individuals like the chief marketing officer, the chief operating officer. Because in the world of entrepreneurship, especially creative entrepreneurship, you cannot do things on your own. You need a team. The biggest takeaway for them is to be able to have, again, my philosophy is relevant and practical learning. If I'm not teaching you something you can't do now or take with you now, then I'm wasting your time, and I'm wasting my time, and I can't do that. I don't feel good when that happens.
That's wonderful. It's what it makes me think of. It's a lot of self-reflection, and that's always important when you're in that kind of field. Out of curiosity, what would you say is one of your, in your opinion, biggest misconceptions people have about entrepreneurship, considering that word gets used very often to describe a lot of different people? What do you think is that the biggest misconception around that?
Great question. The biggest misconception around that is some folks believe entrepreneurs happen overnight. That does not happen. And it is not easy. It is a 24-hour, 7-day a week thing. But also the misconception is that you don't need rest. You need rest. I need to be more committed to resting, so then I can go and wake up the next day to continue to produce things, continue to encourage others, continue to write more because there's a prequel of the Swedish Girl that I'm writing now, but I also have to make syllabi. I also have to prepare for the other projects we're doing, and I'm a father of 4. So entrepreneurs, we're not superheroes, right? We're normal human beings. We bleed just like everyone else, but you also need, biggest misconception is that you're in it by yourself. You are not, and you cannot be successful if you do it on your own.
Did you have any opinions on where people can find that community aspect that people can turn to? Is there anything that you have found that really helps people find community?
That's a great question. If you're right here in South Florida, Art Hive is a great resource for that, right? Art Hive team and the collaborative. So outside other resources that you can get, talk to your professor. If you're in college, talk to your local college professor, your professor of entrepreneurship. See what resources that individual might have. Do a lot of reading. Reading is fundamental. Yeah. Be a student of life. Tap into those resources, the local chambers of commerce in your area.
You made me think of something when you said reading books. I think that's so important, reading outside of your field too. I personally have been reading an author named Adam Grant. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's a Wharton professor, and my background is in psychology, so I really like to understand the psychological reasons people might be doing something. I'm reading his book, Think Again. Pretty interesting.
Yep,
so it's like rethink what you know, right?
Think Again. Yeah. I love. Yeah, that's my next stack of books to read. I have like a whole stack.
It's great. You know what I like? I like knowing that I don't know it all, and I need to keep learning. And when I think I know it all, I find out I don't know anything, and I need to learn again. And I think that's really the skills of entrepreneurship as well, is really thinking of taking away what you know and being okay to say, I don't know as much as I thought I did. Let me learn again and keep rebuilding. And I think that's the premise also. I've learned a lot about people say you should think like a scientist. I never heard that before. And you're supposed to think like a scientist and always kind of rethink your skills. So that was what you made me think of. I wanted to know also, you just mentioned that you have another film that's coming up. How can someone watch this film currently? Is there a way that they're able to see The Sweetest Girl now?
Well, right now, because we're on a film festival run, the film is not available to the public. Okay. But you can go to yanatha.com, so www.yanatha.com, and set up a selected individual screening. I do provide individual screenings or private screenings for individuals to watch The Sweetest Girl. But there's no way to watch it. It's not open to the public. It will disqualify us from winning our Oscar next year. So everyone's just gonna have to hold out unless I get that private screening. What drives and motivates you to want to do that next project and to keep going, even during times of adversity? What do you turn to? Wow, great question. I remember when I did my second audiobook called Savor the Moments. It involved a character, Grayson Goodman, and one of the quotes that popped in my head was, "Success comes with support. We only fail in this life when we fail to uplift one another." We only fail in this life when we fail to uplift one another. I feel that we need to encourage each other. We're not competing with one another as entrepreneurs. If you don't look good, then we don't look good. And that's all I have to say about that.
I love that. And it's funny because you hear certain people talk this way and you hear other people talk the opposite. I feel like if we can continue to keep this thought process moving, everyone hears it enough that we have to support one another. We're not in competition with anyone else. Obviously, we have competition. That's irrelevant. But the point is that if you do right by people, that's what I take away from what you're saying, is that if we're doing right by people, we have good intentions, good things come back to us, right? So always lead with that foot and make sure that you are doing things that if you go on your legacy, that people will remember you in a kind way. And that's all you can hope to do, So if at least you're trying to do that, you'll probably yield that result, right?
Yeah. And Angela, I'm so glad you said lead, right? Lead with love, right? Do what you love. If you're doing what you love, Don't worry about the money. If you're doing what you love, don't worry. Yes, there's competition. It's because we live in capitalism. But lead with love of self, lead with love of the arts, lead with love of one another. And learn to understand your contribution will make an impact in the world more than you realize. And so don't give up. It's very easy to want to give up.
I hope you enjoyed that interview, and now it's time to take out your pen and paper. Don't go anywhere, because we are going to do a webinar where we discuss exactly what we just talked about, taking actionable steps for you to use, and we're going to do a live Q&A. General Assembly is a pioneer in education and career transformation, specializing in today's most in-demand skills. General Assembly is the leading source for training, staffing, and career transformation, and they foster a flourishing community of professionals pursuing careers that they absolutely love. If you're ready to make a change today, visit generalassembly.ly today. Hey everyone, it's Angela here, and I don't know, but if you're like me, I was in love and obsessed with every single thing that Yanatha said. He just hit the nail on the head about everything that us entrepreneurs go through. And you're now in the part where I really want to talk about some actionable tips, things that we just discussed with Yanatha, and how you can use them in your everyday business. Whether you're just starting out as an entrepreneur or you've been in the business for a very long time, there's always skills to learn in between. And that's why I definitely want to talk right now about how to be a solution-driven entrepreneur. I feel like that was the main thread that Yanatha and I really discussed a lot. And I want you to know that there are things that you can do in your business when you walk away from this today that you can start implementing and really see progress. Obviously, we need to kind of talk now about what does it mean being a solution-driven business? I mean, what does that really mean? So being solution-driven means you focus solely on solving problems and providing solutions to you and your team. Obviously, this goes without saying, but this is one of the most effective methods of problem solving in business. And when you are solution oriented, you choose to focus on solutions rather than choosing to focus on the problems. Look, I know that that might be really easier said than done, but something that Jessica and I have learned over the past decade of running a business is that if you don't implement that, the business, the difficulties will just weigh on you. I will definitely admit, year 1 and 2, I don't know if we always came up with those solutions right away, right? I think we probably led the opposite of this entire webinar. So I want to let you know it's okay if that's kind of where you are as well. I want you to know also that it is very common to have problems and difficulties in your business. And it's obviously impossible to avoid. But if you have a solution-driven mindset, right, means that you are ready for whatever may come your way, right? It's the mindset that matters the most. And if you take what you're doing and you're really analyzing it all the time, you're always going to be able to yield the best results. So I want to do a test right now with you. Also, feel free, by the way, we're live right now. I am doing this live. You can comment and ask me a question. You can talk to me. So please feel free to do so. I want to see, first off, if you can test yourself. Are some of these traits something that you're using every day in your business? And I want you to know that if you notice you're lacking in some areas, that is okay. So now is the time right now to self-reflect and start adding these to your daily routine. So let's assess yourself right now. So is this a trait that you're utilizing? So when a problem occurs, you're able to see all of the possible outcomes, right? You don't allow emotions to make your decisions, and you focus on moving forward and not dwelling on the past. I know that might be a difficult one, right? I just told you to take emotions out of business. That can be difficult. That can be something that is hard to do. I can't tell you how many situations I've been in my business where you want to be emotional. I mean, that's a gut reaction to get angry or upset or disappointed. But when you really need to move forward in your business, right, you really need to take action. The emotions just don't get you anywhere. You have to be able to have almost like a global point of view sometimes in your business where you can kind of step back. Imagine if somebody was to say, "Hey, come over here and look at this problem. It's not has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do anything that you don't even know what's going on." You could say, "Oh yeah, just do this. It's no problem." You see, you had no emotion. Imagine being able to do that for your business when problems arise. And I will tell you from experience, when you do this, you yield the best results, right? Because it takes away, I can't say it's going to take away the pain, but it allows you to keep moving forward. And as an entrepreneur, that's what you have to do all the time, right? So we just went over number one, and I want to go now over number two. You don't waste time making excuses. Are you doing this right now in your business? Are you able to focus on what you can do to make everything right rather than spending too much time on whose fault it might be? Just think about the last difficult thing you've gone through in your business. Did you make excuses or did you come up with an action plan? Did you come up with a game plan on what worked and what didn't work? And if you haven't done that before, once again, it's okay. This is all about trial and error here. The better you get, it's like taking on these intense skills. Imagine going to the gym and you tell the personal trainer, "I want to run a marathon." Well, the personal trainer can't just tell you, "Okay, good luck, go." You have to train for it, right? Entrepreneurship, exactly the same. It's a training mechanism. You learn, go back to the personal trainer. You learn how to eat right. You learn how to have a daily routine. You learn how to fit exercise in your life, even if you don't want to. If you can incorporate those skills, this goes back to being a solution-driven entrepreneur, which is what Yanatha talked about. I mean, he made a film during one of the difficult times ever in our history. And so when you look at that and you see that he was able to overcome that adversity, it makes you realize that this is a skill that is something that can be developed over time. Are you doing this? Are you using collaboration to your advantage? Are you always making sure it's a team effort when working with others on a project? So if you are working by yourself, let's say you're a solopreneur and you're saying, "Well, I don't have any other projects that I work on people. I don't need to worry about collaborating." But maybe that's something in the future that you're going to be doing. What are you doing today that's setting yourself up for success tomorrow? Collaborations, in our opinion, has probably been one of the best things that has actually propelled our business today. And the reason why is because you're able to deliver. When you're able to deliver and make another person happy, that's your reputation, right? And what is that saying? Your reputation precedes you. So it really matters when you're able to collaborate and do a wonderful job. And there are the times when collaborations don't work, right? So we all know about collaborations that don't work, and that's okay too. But if you use a collaboration to uplift and to build other people, then you're on the right track. And let's look at number 4. Are you embracing making mistakes? This might be a tricky one, I know, but rather than thinking that everything you've done was a waste of time, you're able to see the lessons learned. You know that you are smarter and you're wiser than before you started. I have to say that I was literally just talking about this the other day. And I think one of the ways that I was talking about lessons learned was it's an experience in your business, right? It is a thing you can check off to say, I've learned this, I'm smarter now, I have higher standards for X, Y, and Z, and it's something that nobody can take away from you. So if you've had a recent mistake or a recent upset, rather than seeing it as something that's pushing you down, see it as something that can lift you up, because you now know what you won't do, what you won't get yourself involved in. Maybe you worked with somebody that wasn't the best fit for you. That's all something that nobody can teach you. Right now, sitting here today, I can't tell you not to do that business deal you're about to do with somebody. You're not going to listen to me. You have to go through your own experience sometimes. And that's what being a business owner is all about, is taking your learned experiences, using them to your advantage so you keep getting better every single time. So I kind of want to discuss some key takeaways that I felt were really important in this episode. The first one is that entrepreneurship requires a solutions-oriented mindset. So once again, it's that mindset. I know we talk about mindset all the time, but it's something that's so important when you're really trying to go that uphill battle that we're all going. I feel like a second key takeaway was really that in order to be your best, you need to take care of your mental health and well-being. I think this is something that over the past almost 2 years now, we're seeing now more than ever is the most important. Taking care of yourself. You can't do it all. Nobody can. We all have the same 24 hours in the day. But at the end of the day, you really got to be kind to yourself and take care of yourself, because you need to be the best version that you can possibly be for your business and your family and in life. And I want to talk about the last key takeaway that I felt was really important was always find ways to keep learning and growing. I know that I said it in the episode and I'll say it again. I don't know it all. And I'm excited to learn about what I don't know. Yanatha is constantly learning. He's learning how to be a better filmmaker, a better author, a better professor. And so if we all kind of challenge ourselves, right? We challenge ourselves to be the best version that we can be, we are going to yield better results. And that is the main takeaway from this whole episode. And the whole premise of creative disruption is to build upon our skills. Maybe some of you are filmmakers out there. Maybe you're not, but you take what other people are doing and use it to your benefit, okay? So one last thing I want to share with you, if you're interested in continuing to learn and grow, we are going to be having a business boot camp that Jessica and I are going to be teaching in real time and in real life. And I posted it in the comments if you want to check it out to join our wait list. We want to talk a lot about how to grow together, how to build together. And at the end of the day, what matters most, whether you take our boot camp or not, it's that you're pushing yourself, you're driving yourself for success. And I hope that you really took away some valuable tips on how to be a solutions-driven entrepreneur. So make sure you take time for yourself and stay creative. Have a great night.